Good day everyone, thank you for joining me today. I'm Dr. James Joseph, a researcher specializing in environmental toxicology and biophysics. In this presentation, Toxic Fog 7, Electrified Skies, we'll explore how airborne heavy metals like aluminum and barium interact with electromagnetic fields, EMFs, to amplify oxidative stress in the body. Drawing from our independent analysis and published research, we'll cover the mechanisms involved, potential health impacts, and strategies for mitigation. This is for educational purposes, and I welcome collaborative input. Let's dive in. As a quick note, all content here stems from our team's interpretations and aligns with existing studies, shared purely for learning and collaboration. In our prior work, we've seen heavy metals like aluminum, barium, lead, and cadmium build up in tissues, throwing off mineral balance. These aren't just inert substances, they're conductive and charged, forming what we call an invisible mesh. This mesh heightens our vulnerability to EMF-induced oxidative stress. Ultimately, it creates a dual assault, one from environmental sources above and another from accumulated toxins within, disrupting cellular voltages and making us more susceptible overall. Consider conductive metals dispersed in the atmosphere. They don't just float harmlessly. Instead, they act as enhancers for electromagnetic interactions. This turns the sky into an electrified medium, potentially boosting the effects of EMFs on everything below. As you can see in these diagrams, the distribution patterns highlight how widespread this issue might be. EMFs surround us every day, from Wi-Fi and Bluetooth devices to cell towers and even satellites in orbit. Although they're classified as non-ionizing, meaning they don't directly damage DNA like radiation, they can still disrupt our biological systems. This is particularly true for processes that depend on electrical gradients, such as how our nervous system, heart, and immune responses function through precise voltage regulation and calcium signaling. For people who are vulnerable, especially those retaining heavy metals in their bodies, EMFs become a real biophysical irritant. They can trigger oxidative stress, activate mast cells leading to inflammation, and cause cognitive symptoms like brain fog or fatigue. EMFs influence our biology in significant ways, particularly by targeting voltage-gated calcium channels, or VGCCs, which are embedded in cell membranes. When cells are exposed to these fields, the channels can open at the wrong times, leading to an excessive influx of calcium ions, or Ca2+. This buildup of intracellular calcium then acts like a signal, kicking off oxidative signaling pathways that stress mitochondria and ramp up inflammation. Today, the VGCC mechanism is widely recognized as a core factor in pathologies linked to EMFs, such as neuroinflammation, irregular heart rhythms, and chronic fatigue. Looking at this diagram, you can see how the process cascades into mitochondrial inflammation and broader health issues. Building on that, NOx enzymes come into play by producing reactive oxygen species, or ROS, which are harmful molecules that damage cells. In the presence of metals and EMFs, this generation process accelerates, creating a vicious cycle of oxidative damage. These diagrams illustrate how NOx activation ties directly into the broader stress response we've been discussing. Among the culprits, metals like aluminum, Al, copper, Cu, and lead, Pb, stand out as key players. They don't just accumulate, they actively amplify the ROS cycle by enhancing conductivity and reactivity. These charts highlight their specific roles in escalating oxidative stress when combined with EMFs. Starting from what we consider baseline or zero-level exposure, these interactions don't stay neutral for long. They escalate rapidly, as shown in this graph, building up stress responses in ways that can overwhelm biological defenses. This visual helps us understand the starting point before amplification occurs. Our detailed data reveals how metal EMF interactions unfold over time, with clear patterns of escalation in stress indicators. For instance, you can see spikes in ROS levels correlating with exposure intensities. This visualization underscores the cumulative impact, helping us quantify the risks involved. To counter this, detoxifying metals is essential to lighten the body's conductive load, but we can also use targeted molecules for direct neural stabilization. For example, intranasal oxytocin in the morning helps modulate emotional pathways, calm mast cells, and potentially buffer against voltage disruptions. In the evening, intranasal progesterone provides protection for mitochondria, reduces neuroinflammation, and soothes overactive neural circuits. By delivering them intranasally, especially with cyclodextrin enhancement, these compounds skip the liver and reach the brain quickly. Overall, this dual strategy of physical restoration and nervous system shielding could provide strong defense against illnesses tied to EMFs. Detox goes beyond simple chelation, it requires precise removal of toxins coupled with strategic replacement of what's missing. Our targeted plasma extraction method lets us separate and eliminate plasma that's laden with toxic metals and inflammatory agents. This approach eases the burden on vital organs like the kidneys and liver, making detoxification safer and more effective. At the same time, we replenish essential trace minerals, which act as the proper conductors in cells and have been displaced by their harmful counterparts. In wrapping up, remember that this isn't ordinary pollution, it's an electrified and reactive atmosphere interacting with our increasingly conductive bodies. Airborne metals can magnify the effects of EMFs, while those retained internally reduce our natural resistance to harm. Through metal removal and voltage stabilization, we can pave the way toward true recovery. I strongly invite experts in biophysics, toxicology, and environmental medicine to collaborate and build on these findings. Thank you for your attention. I'm open to any questions now.